Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sunil from the Department of Freshman Engineering. I'm an assistant professor of English in St. Martin's Engineering College. Well, today we'll be learning about reading skills. Now, the reason why I chose reading skills is this is one major skill which, right from schooling level to the highest level, that is the university level, students face problems. And that is the reason why I today want to emphasize on these skills. Now, let's try and understand a few basic concepts of reading skills. Now, the first thing is main idea and supporting details. Now, we must understand that whenever we open a text or whenever we try to read a text, be it of any genre, the first thing you have to do is question yourself and find out what is the main idea and what are the supporting details that are supporting the main idea. We will understand it in depth right now. Let's look at this picture. Now, if you look at this picture very closely, here's a teacher and here's a student. And the teacher is questioning the student. Let's try and understand the picture in depth. Now, look what the teacher asks. Why are you late, Joe? Now, Joe answers, because of a sign down the road. Now, teacher asks, what does a sign have to do with you being late? Now, the answer is, the sign said, school ahead, go slow. Now, here Joe did not understand the main idea of the sign. Now, in reality, the sign was not for Joe, but the sign was for traffic, right? So, the sign asked the traffic to go slow, but instead, our Joe went slow and hence he came late to the school. This is what happens if you do not understand the main idea. You assume that you've understood it, but perhaps you're too far from understanding it. Now, let's look at it in depth. Now, what is the main idea? The definition is it's an idea or opinion. Let's use, all right. Main idea is nothing but an idea or opinion. Okay, it's an idea, number one, or it's an opinion. And what it does, it holds the major importance in a text. So, our main idea can be an idea, all right, or it can be an opinion, and it holds a major importance. And let's try and understand one thing. Now, whenever you're talking about opinion or idea, you have to support that with supporting details. Now, what are supporting details? Let's look at the definition. Now, supporting detail is nothing but evidence that proves the idea or the opinion. In other words, it can be an example, fact, or a reason. So, whenever you have an idea or a supporting detail in mind, it can be either proved with the help of an example or a fact or a reason. Okay, now let's move to the next slide and understand. Let's look at a few examples. Now, the first example is my car is a Ford and my car is a box. Now, what is the main idea here? Let's try and understand. We have two simple sentences. Number one, the first sentence is my car is a Ford. Okay. Now, next is my car is a box. Now, let's try and question ourselves. What could be the main idea here? Listen, when we looked at the previous slide, we understood that main idea is nothing but which can be supported with examples, opinions, or proper reasons. Now, here, look which line can be supported with examples or opinions. Is it the first one? My car is a Ford. Is Ford an idea or an opinion, or is it a brand? Is it a fact? My car is a box. Is box an idea or an opinion, or is it a brand? You have to question yourself like this. Now, if you question like this, you'll understand what is the main idea here, or what is a fact and what is an opinion here. So, same questions. So, which sentence defines the main idea, that is, or the opinion, and which sentence is a fact? The answer is very simple. I'm sure many of you have tried to answer this. Now, my car is a Ford. It expresses a fact because what is Ford? Ford is the name of a company. It's a brand. Okay. So it's a fact. so you need not support it with supporting details or any further examples. Whereas my car is a box is nothing but the main idea, because it's the personal opinion of the author. Now, when the author is giving his personal opinion or an idea, all he has to do is he has to support it with supporting details so that the reader who is reading it understands the intention or reasoning behind why the person has said it. Now, here he's calling his car a box. In other words, perhaps he thinks that his car doesn't work. Let's try and understand the reason behind it. All right, he's supporting it with few examples, reasons, and details. Number one, perhaps the car shakes. So he's calling his car a box because it shakes, doesn't work properly. Next, the engine might be bad. So you have a car, it shakes, your engine is bad, and then the mileage is terrible. No matter how much diesel or petrol or gasoline you fill it with, it doesn't go longer. That is the reason why this person feels his car is a box. He has supported the reasoning behind calling it a box. And that is how you have to differentiate between a main idea and supporting details. Now let's look at another example. We have one more example. Now we have three sentences, and let's understand which sentence holds the major importance here, the main idea, and which could be the supporting details. Number one, we have freshly cut poison leaves. Where are they? In the box. So you have a box, you have a freshly cut poison leaves. Then you have a spider. Now what kind of a spider is that? It is a flesh eating spider, meaning if you put your hand in the box, it might eat your finger, it might eat your flesh, in other words, and it's of large size. Okay, now third line, you should not put your hand in the box. Now among all the three lines, what do you think is the main idea? The very first sentence, which gives all the details related to whatever that we are discussing. Okay, let's move on. All right, so here if you see, the main idea is a spider has just crawled into the box. If you tell someone that a flesh eating spider has crawled into the box, he may not put his hand inside. So you need not ask him to put his hand or not to put his hand again. And freshly cut poisonous leaves, that too is not so important, because even if they are poisonous leaves, if you put your hand inside, there's no guarantee whether it would harm you or it would not harm you. But if there's a flesh eating spider and if you put a hand, it might chop your finger off. Hence, this is the main idea there, the first sentence, that is quite important. And then these are the supporting details. Now let's look at how we can frame main ideas. Number one, we can use maps. Okay, what are maps? Maps are nothing but the visual outlines that we use. So visually, you create a map. I'll show a picture that is next. So visually, you create the map and then you distinguish the main idea and supporting details. Let's look at the maps here. Okay, this is the map. Now here in the middle, you write the main idea here in the middle, and there what are the supporting details. So your main idea, your sentence comes here, and then if you have 2 or 3 details, all the supporting details come here. For example, remember my car is a box. So my car is a box comes here because that's the main idea. And the key details, engine is not good, car shakes, and then mileage is low. So these are the supporting details which support the main idea. And instead of writing it in the form of a big paragraph, which is difficult to remember, all you can do is you can use a map. You draw a map, you put a rectangle here, and then you put 3 boxes, you write the main idea and 3 supporting details. That helps you to remember. So whenever you read next time, if you understand the main idea and supporting details, perhaps in the margin, you can use a margin and write the mind map here. Next, this is another kind of mind map. And then you can use another type. Okay, this is almost equal to a flow chart. You call this a Brace thinking map. So there are multiple ways where you can stipulate your main idea and supporting details for your remembrance. So first, so to sum up, so always ask what is the main idea and what is the supporting detail, and always try to find a connection between the main idea and supporting details. To understand this in depth, I brought a little video, small video, wherein you can see a student struggling with the main idea and supporting details, but eventually he gets the details because he questions himself properly. Let's look at the video once. All right. Okay, this is our video and this is our student. Now, here we are trying to find out the main idea. So, in other words, we are asking our students to question themselves and ask, what message do they hear? Okay. So, what message do you hear? So, whenever you read or write, always think, what is the message the text is giving you and whether the message is clear or not. Only then you will understand the main idea. Let's look at the sample paragraph that would be given now in this video. All right. You have to always understand the central point here. Here's a sample paragraph. Robert was having a bad day, as you can read. And right. Okay, let's try and understand. Robert was having. Okay, in this small little paragraph, we'll understand that Robert, the student, was having a bad day. All right. Robert was having a bad day. And do we find anything that supports this statement? Now, the first statement has been made that Robert was having a bad day. And next question is, we have to figure out whether it is being supported by the author with a few supporting details. Let's try and read the few sentences. Everything seemed to be going wrong. Now, whatever he was doing, it was going wrong. First thing, what went wrong actually? His alarm clock did not go off. So the alarm failed. Number one, to start off the day early in the morning, the alarm failed. Perhaps he woke up late. Number two, he missed the bus. Since we assumed him to be a student, let's assume he missed his school bus or college bus. Alarm went off late, or alarm did not work properly, and he missed his college bus. And then he ripped a hole in his pants. His dress was not good as well. There was a hole. Hence, it was the worst day of Robert's life. So, if you could look at it closely, the very first sentence is the main idea here. Because in the very beginning, the author told us that Robert was having a bad day, and he has supported it with 3 details. And hence, finally, he's restating the same thing. Robert was having a bad day, worst day. Bad and worse. These are synonyms. So, as used the topic sentence here in a paragraph, the first sentence is called as a topic sentence. So, in the topic sentence, he clearly told us what was happening. He supported it with the supporting details, and then there's a restatement of the topic sentence. Hence, it's a proper paragraph where there's a main idea, where there are supporting details, and then there is a restatement. Now, this is how you understand what's the main idea and what are the supporting details. If you could look at the video very closely, if I could write. Same thing. There are 3 details that are supporting. So, it's the main idea and there are the details. So, main idea, and we have 1, 2, and 3 supporting details. So, now this is how you have to understand and question yourself regarding the main idea and supporting details. Now, what we'll do is, we'll move on to a very interesting concept. Once you understand the main idea and supporting details, you must understand a few more details that will help you in becoming a good reader. Right. You have to know a few more reading strategies. Understanding the main idea and supporting details is a very basic concept, the first step. Now, since the foundation has been laid, you have to understand the next strategies that will help you become a better reader. Now, first understand what's the strategy. It's an activity that helps students increase their reading abilities. So you should know a few strategies that can help you become a better reader. For example, let's say there is a text. I gave you a huge text of 2 to 3 pages and you have very little time to go through it. Now, what do? Do you panic by looking at the length of the text, or do you use a few strategies that can help you in becoming a better reader, or that can help you in understanding the concept clearer? Okay. Number one. So we are basically looking at 4 techniques, strategies. First is skimming and scanning. Then we'll look at comprehensive reading and critical reading. So what exactly is skimming? Well, as you can see, it's a reading technique, all right, that helps you to quickly get over the material to get a main idea or supporting details without having to pay any close attention. Number one, without reading the entire length of the text, you can still get the main idea of the text. In other words, you can get the gist of the text. A short summary, a brief summary of the text without reading everything up there. So we have 3 pages of text with us. We have less time, let's assume, and still you can still understand the main idea, supporting details, that is the gist of the text, if you use a strategy called skimming. Now let's look at what exactly you can do when you skim. Number one, first look at the introduction and conclusion. Now, whenever an author writes something, he does 2 things. He writes an introduction and a conclusion. All right, you have a title, you have paragraphs, you have topics, you have subtopics, everything. But the first major thing that gives you accurate information regarding the text is the introduction and conclusion. The author or the writer tells you what he's about to write. For example, if you want to write 3 pages, many of the authors, they tell us in the very beginning what they are about to write. That is, that they tell us the sequence of the events that are about to come. So if you read the introduction, you will understand what is about to come, and then conclusion. And what happens in the conclusion? Whenever you look at a text, a lesson, or an article, towards the conclusion, the author summarizes. Okay, there is a summary of what has been written in the text. So once you read the introduction, you understand what is about to come. 2, when you read the conclusion, you understand the summary, that is what the author has said. So you already know, without reading the text, that what the author has said, he would say about the text, and what he has actually said. So you have at least 5 to 10% of information there. Number one. Number two, you look at the chapters or sections, if there are, or if you don't have, look at the headings and subheadings as it's given. Okay, if you have chapters, look at the chapters, and if the summaries are given, look at the summaries. If you don't have, look at the titles, subtitles, and headings. What happens is, once you look at the titles, subtitles, and headings, you have to activate something called your background knowledge. Okay, that is the background knowledge, and I'll tell you the importance of background knowledge. As soon as you read the introduction and conclusion and the summary is given, you have to understand the title, the subtitles, and the headings in detail, and that can only happen if you have background knowledge related to the text. Now let's understand what is the background knowledge there. Okay, so what's a background knowledge in reality? So background knowledge is nothing but, as I said, whenever there's a title, first let's try and understand the background knowledge. All right, now background knowledge. What exactly is background knowledge? So we were talking about the title, right, the headings, and the subheadings. Right. For example, let's say our topic is deforestation. Okay. Let's say our topic is deforestation. Now, before looking at the titles, headings, and subheadings, what you have to do is you activate your background knowledge. Now, the big question is what is called as a background knowledge? Now, background knowledge is the knowledge that you've gained as a learner right from your childhood till your present studying section, that is your present level of studying. For example, you may be a university student, you may be an intermediate student, whatever. So right from the childhood till now, whatever the knowledge you've gained, be it through academics or be it through societal knowledge, knowledge can be gained anywhere, not only in the classroom, understand, not only in the classroom but also elsewhere. For example, while talking to your parents, you might have learned or heard something about deforestation, or when talking to your friends outside the classroom when playing, you might have discussed something about deforestation, or elsewhere you might have read something about deforestation, or you switched on the TV, there was deforestation happening, and maybe the anchor there was giving you some knowledge about deforestation. Maybe you were rolling over channels, you were looking at channels nature related like Discovery, Nat Geo, and there you saw something about deforestation. Now what you have to do is, in a less amount of time, very quickly, you have to activate your background knowledge. What is activation? You quickly recap the entire knowledge that you have related to the topic. For example, our topic is deforestation, right? Quickly activate that background knowledge and question yourself what exactly you know about the topic. Now, once you activate the background knowledge, what happens is you already know something about it. So before reading the text, you already are equipped with some information related to the topic. So you come up with the present knowledge, okay? Let's call this as current knowledge, okay? Plus, you look at the title, headings, subheadings. Now, when you look at the title, headings, subheadings, quickly read this and understand what the person is about to tell there. For example, the title may be deforestation is bad for the planet Earth as a whole, and subheadings may be pollution, and headings may be pollution, subheadings may be types of pollution, impact on the health of people, impact on the health of other countries, impact on the natural resources, etc. Right? So what you do is you look at the subtitles and think about the subtitles, titles instantly, whatever the knowledge you can on your whole, or if possible, read one or two lines given below the title or below the headings. 1, 2, 1, 2. So 1, 2 lines that are given below the title or the headings or subheadings. And once you do that, what happens is your background knowledge plus the knowledge given here in the text, and that is called as I'm calling, okay, let's call this the current knowledge that is given in the text plus your background knowledge that you've already activated. So your background knowledge comes here. So the current knowledge comes from the text, okay, and all this will give rise to new knowledge. So your background knowledge combines with the current knowledge that's given in the text and it gives rise to new knowledge. Hence, you as a reader will not only be equipped with the text that is given, the knowledge related in the given text, but also the knowledge that you have related to the text that you've gathered throughout your time as a student. Hence, background knowledge, activating it is very essential. Now, let's move on to our slide and find out more about it. Right. Now, next after skimming, we'll try and find out what is scanning. Okay, scanning is nothing but scanning, as you know, the word itself tells, scanning is nothing but activating. Scanning is nothing but finding out what is the most important point there. Once you learn to skim, okay, you have to find out what is scanning. As I said, let's try and focus on the definition of scanning. So what is scanning? It refers to reading a text quickly in order to locate specific information. For example, let's say you have 2 to 3 pages of text and the question is, when was the author born? Now, to know the answer to this, you need not go to the entire text. You know that generally the introduction part of the author tells us when he was born and where he was born, right? Hence, you should know to find an answer to when he was born, I should go to the first paragraph, that is the introduction. Next, for example, let's say you're in a railway station or you're in an airport. What do? Do you search for your own flight or train, or do you read every other flight that is being displayed or every other train that is being displayed? You only look for what is needed, right? Now that is called as scanning. Now what to do when scanning? Number one, don't read everything, okay? Right from the beginning to the end. Okay, right from the beginning to the end. Do not read anything, everything, all right? All right. From beginning to the end, do not read everything. Just jump around the information. Whatever you need, quickly jump to there and look for the information as quickly as you can. So the objective is you quickly look for the information. So what is scanning? What do you scan generally? This is what? Your timetable, your newspaper, list of advertisements in the newspaper, or your articles, your telephone dictionary or telephone index or a dictionary. This is all you have to scan, or we generally scan on a daily basis. Next, since we have understood the difference between, we have understood skimming and scanning, now finally let us summarize and find out the difference between the two strategies. Now the first strategy, skimming, is used to get the main idea, that is the gist of the text. All right, you try to get the main idea, whereas in scanning you're not looking for the entire main idea of the text. What you're doing is you're looking for a specific information. Now that may be a fact, okay, it may be any specific information. So whenever you want to look at any specific information, you quickly scan. If you want to get a gist of it, you quickly skim, right? So skimming, one thing that you need is you have to be a very fast reader. You have to have the ability to glimpse through text within no time, and that comes with practice. So to be a fast reader, you need to read regularly on a daily basis, right? And then must leave out parts. So when you're skimming, you leave out a few parts, you know what to do, what not to do, all right? But when scanning, you find out, you should have the ability to find out where the information I'm trying to find lies in the text. Is it at the beginning? Is it at the end? Is it in the middle? So the ability to be accurate enough with your thinking as well as with finding the answer should be there. So these are the differences between skimming and scanning. Let us summarize what we have done today. We have understood two reading strategies, skimming and scanning. And before that, we tried to understand what is the main idea and supporting details. So let's summarize. Main idea is nothing but the most important idea that holds major importance in a text, and it can be supported with facts, opinions, ideas, examples, and experiences. All right. Now what are supporting details? That is the main idea. It can be supported. And what is skimming and scanning? These are the strategies that will help you to find out answers, or that will help you to find out information related to the text in a very little span of time. So when you skim, you quickly go through the text, you read the important elements there and get a gist of the text. And when you scan, you quickly find out where the answer might lie to my question, and you go to that specific part of the text and you try to get an answer to the text. So these are the two strategies that we learned today, and we learned about main idea and supporting details. So students, if you could equip yourself with these two strategies and the basic foundation, that is the main idea and supporting details, I can assure you that you can cover the most important part of the text within no time, even though you have less time. So practice on this. You'll do more whenever you get to know the future strategies of reading. These skills will help you to lay the basic foundation. Well, that's all in today's class. I hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you.